Look, you can find dozens of guides out there that all claim to have the magical secret to having a perfect ski vacation. They'll tell you to go in the late season, book lessons, get the right equipment, blah 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 blah. This is not that. Today I'm going over all the small things, the things that inexperienced ski vacationers often don't consider. For those of you who have skied for decades, you probably know all of these, but for those of you who are brand new or just relatively new to the sport, here are 9 little things to keep in mind in order to have an awesome ski trip. Alright, to start off, our first tip is not to ski in too big of a group. In our experience, it's quite easy to say you're going skiing, start inviting friends who invite their friends, and before you know it, you've got 8 or 10 people. Groups of 3 or 4 is a perfect number. Any more than that, and it's hard for everyone to get to ski what they want to ski, you don't get to ride as many chairlifts together, and it's easy to lose people on crowded runs. So to go along with the primary proposal, don't be afraid to split up. One of the easiest ways that we've found is to set a place and time to meet up again, perhaps, for example, the base area at 12:30. You can split up according to who wants to ski what and not have to worry about dragging someone less enthusiastic along your favorite runs. Look, skiing with all of your friends sounds great on paper, but practically, the more people you have, the more things that can go wrong. So don't feel pressured to lead or participate in a large group, and don't be afraid to split up. But of course, make sure you're always skiing with at least one other person. Alright, next up, let's talk about goggles. See, everybody will tell you to make sure you have boots you like, skis that fit your skiing style, the right jacket, a MIPS helmet, and on and on and on. But what a lot of people often overlook is the goggles. Lots of people buy goggles based on how they look on them, which we are admittedly guilty of. But the absolute worst thing that can happen, which we say from experience, is that you buy a pair of goggles that look good, but as soon as you take them on the hill, they immediately fog up and make your entire day miserable. Different people and different goggles all have different amounts of fog that'll build up, so we highly recommend getting goggles with a favorable return policy so that you can test them, and if you have issues, get a different style that may work better for you. Reading the reviews is another big thing that can help with this, and lastly, don't be afraid to splurge a little, as a lot of cheaper goggles have fogging completely disregarded in their design phase. Goggles can make or break your day just as much as your boots or skis, so make sure to put adequate preparation into them just the same as with the rest of your equipment. Now, in planning overall for a ski vacation, our third tip is to overpack. Now, this doesn't mean overpack in the sense of bringing an extra week's worth of clothing. This means to bring things you might not have considered before. Perhaps you're going on spring break and the forecast says sunny and 40 all week. We would still recommend bringing hand warmers because you never know when an unexpected storm will roll through. And of course, if you don't bring them and end up needing them, prices in ski towns can often end up being exorbitantly more than if you had just bought them beforehand. Another good thing to consider is water bottles. Small, flexible water bottles such as the Camelback Quick Stow can fit in the pockets of most ski jackets, allowing you to continuously ski instead of having to stop for water every hour. Another good option is 8-ounce plastic bottles, which should also fit. A traditional Camelback bladder or water bottle in a backpack works as well. All of the aforementioned items could be extremely difficult to find in a ski town, so it's something else we recommend packing. And of course, a sub-tip relating to this is to ensure you're drinking water throughout the day. Alright, our fourth tip is a lot more simple. Ensure you wear sunscreen. This may sound stupid, but again, this is from experience. It is easy to get a nasty goggle tan even on a cloudy day. Take, for example, Arapahoe Basin, whose high altitude is conducive to getting sunburnt on a cloudy day due to its super thin air. Always wear sunscreen on any high points you don't intend to cover with a balaclava. Simple as that. For our fifth tip, we're going to go back to equipment, but as is the theme with this video, it's something else almost nobody thinks of. Say, theoretically, you drive up to a resort on Friday night for a weekend, take all your bags in, but leave skis, boots, and poles in the car. Sounds pretty routine, right? Now say that you park that car outside. There is one crucial mistake in this story: leaving the ski boots out in the cold. Ski boots are already painfully difficult to put on even for us, some fairly experienced skiers. When they're cold, they're even more annoying. Take them into your condo if you're staying the night. Keeping them warm makes them magnitudes easier to put on, so if you find yourself in a situation where you could either take them inside or leave them outside, we would highly recommend taking them inside each and every time. Lots of inexperienced skiers hold the misconception that taking your lunch is frowned upon, and thus feel pressured to buy food at the ski resorts. Our sixth tip is to scout ahead of time to find lodges that have microwaves that allow picnicking. This is a difficult one, but a good way to do this is asking around, posting on Reddit or Quora, or sometimes looking at the ski resort website. Generally, the ski resorts themselves won't tell you because they want to push you to buy their food, but you can still have a good lunch without having to spend exorbitant amounts as long as you do proper research ahead of time. Some go-to meals for us are ramen cups and Madras lentils. I know this one is more complex, but over time, the meal savings do add up. Trust me. Now, when I say that our seventh tip is to have a plan, it sounds pretty stereotypical, but we don't mean it in the normal sense. Sure, it's great to have a plan for where you're going to ski, and we do highly recommend that. For example, saying you'll ski Sheer Bliss and Big Burn until 11, then head down to the base for lunch sets a good baseline so you don't feel overwhelmed on the mountain. However, what we mean by having a plan means before and after you're on the mountain. For example, if you have a couple of young kids, how are you going to transport their equipment to and from the mountain when you also have your own to carry? Another huge thing is parking. Know what parking lot you're going to aim for and research if you need reservations, which lots of resorts are starting to require for certain lots. Know if you'll need to pay for parking, if you'll need to ride a shuttle, and where to get off. Know where bathrooms and the ticket office are so you don't waste time looking for them. All of these little things are incredibly important and can completely shape your ski day. If you go unprepared, you'll already have an advantage over 90% of everyone who's there. An overwhelming majority of ski trips involve driving to and from the resort on the day you ski. In other words, most ski trips, you aren't staying slopeside. There are two major things that we highly recommend having with you on those so-called day trips. Our eighth tip is to take a tarp and snacks and beverages. The tarp is pretty key. Ski resort parking lots can get insanely muddy. You may pull up in the morning and the lot is snow covered, but by the afternoon it's a muddy mess. It's happened to us more times than we can count. The tarp comes into play when you go to change your shoes. The tarp gives you extra space to stand without needing to cram yourself into the car or balance on one foot to change from ski boots to snow boots or vice versa. And of course, the last thing you want is cranky kids, so snacks are incredibly valuable, even if it's just a 30-minute drive back to your lodging. And gentlemen, that snack principle also applies to wives and girlfriends. Alright, and now for our final tip. We highly recommend watching our Insider's Guide videos for the resort you're going to visit. Yes, this is a shameless self-promo, but don't count us out quite yet. An Insider's Guide to Ski Resorts is our series in which we help you make the most out of your ski day. We talk about where lift lines are most likely to occur and how to avoid them, what each run or trail pod is like, the best spots to grab lunch, where you can find the best views, which trails are the most crowded, and we even give away some of the secret spots, but not all of them. We expect to reach our 50th episode by the end of the ski season, meaning that there's a solid chance that if you're skiing it, we've covered it. To find out if we've covered the resort you're heading to, just go to srgskiing.com and search for the name of the resort. And with that, we're about done here. Go check out srgskiing.com if you liked this video, and don't forget to leave a like or comment and subscribe to the channel to help support this stream. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, please leave any questions down below. All my love, I'm out.